Hello, everybody. It's Holger Mueller here, talking about my thoughts on Microsoft's Build Conference, its premier developer conference, still happening today on May 9th in Seattle. Second year Build is back in Seattle. I think it's good to be close to Seattle or Redmond, where Microsoft's really from. Gives the event a more Seattle-ish, Microsoft-ish unique style. The challenge, of course, is the weather. Way over 6,000 attendees filled up the Seattle Convention Center. Very good output and presence from the press. I think it's one of the best press events and analyst events in the year. Lots of things to say, of course, lots of products on the Microsoft side. Hard to find my takeaway here. The 5 I think I see mostly happening. The biggest one, nothing really new, 100%, not surprising, but a really big push from Microsoft on the IoT side. It's very clear that what started about 2 years ago with some easy-to-use, easy-to-configure offerings. Microsoft let us, the analysts, build some IoT applications, connecting a Raspberry Pi to some temperature sensors. So if we could do it, everybody could do it probably. But this has pushed on further to the IoT edge, where basically Microsoft is deploying capabilities to run intelligent services or anything around storage management on locations which might be remote, offshore, not have access, be on freighters, on cruise ships are the usual examples for that. So big push from that. At the end of the day, not so much of a surprise, because if you think and abstract for a moment, what is Microsoft big? If you think about the history, it was all about detaching the compute from the central part, right? There used to be mainframes and PCs. Microsoft is the PC powering company of Windows, so why should Microsoft not play a role powering things away from where connectivity or the cloud is, basically with an offline part, which is the IoT edge, which is building up more and more, and which I think also benefits from Azure Tech Stack, which is Azure on premises for enterprise who want to do that for privacy or regulation reasons. So overall, a good thing. The good news is the combination of IoT Edge with Azure, obviously, with a new Event Grid partnership which just came up, connecting that to the Azure Service Fabric, which is one of the big differentiators of Azure itself. And Microsoft's been early at adopting the Event Fabric, which is a cloud-native standard, not only to be able to consume what's coming in from the IoT device, but also to publish back to them, and with that to the other infrastructure as a clouds which support that. So good leadership at the moment for Microsoft on the IoT side. The other big news, of course, is artificial intelligence, which Microsoft, in my view, has always been a certain point lacking. And we, of course, can't ignore what Google is doing this week at Google I/O. But things are finally, in my view, coming together. First of all, with a clear commitment of Microsoft to the right analytical technology, which is neural networks. So the overall cognitive service attributed over 20-25 of them, all based on neural networks. Microsoft worked on them for over 2 years, are now available, easily to be built into applications by developers, right? The race from every vendor to make every developer an AI developer is clearly on, because there's not enough data scientists and everybody wants to build as much AI to consume cloud resources, capabilities, and build these next generation applications as possible. Obviously, Brainwave is available. The FPGA setup of Microsoft and Azure, long overdue, was announced. I haven't had a chance to look two years ago, if not longer. FPGAs are notoriously tricky to program. I'm not sure if that's the right approach to run these capabilities, machine learning capabilities. What's clear is if you have a CPU-intensive analytical application, the FPGAs make a lot of sense because they help you to, in a lightweight format, to utilize those CPUs better, right? Bing is a great example for that. So we'll see a lot of discussions about if GPUs are right and FPGAs are right. Both of them are right. It depends on the nature of the analytical application. And then, of course, ONX, the partnership with Facebook as the most prominent one, basically the combination of people, also with Amazon, like Brainwave as well, of the combination of bringing things together from the people who are not Google, basically. Good to see these ONX models becoming live and being available, and the support for that. And it was an important thing for Microsoft to close loop. So good progress on AI. Then back to Windows, I wrote a more critical piece about why did Microsoft split Windows. In my view, something we now have to live with. The decision has been made, but probably a big mistake. Who has a $700, $800 million platform and is not leveraging that? Maybe it's kind of like coming back under the hoods on the IoT edge, probably not called Windows because for some reason Windows has a bad rep. The big advantage is, of course, it helps Microsoft reduce their messaging platform, the platform messaging to a certain point, because Satya Nadella came out and said, well, there's only two platforms, right? There's the Azure platform and the Microsoft 365 platform, which of course contains Windows in it. So what's new on the Windows side? The interesting thing there is the capability of the timeline, which came in the April update, which I think is really interesting because it makes things more human from a perspective. We don't think in files and folders. Well, files maybe, but not in folders. We think in objects and time. And with that capability, you can go back in time and say, what did I work on yesterday or earlier today, and directly jump to it in a combination of both the program and the document, or the browser side or the browser history, which is very powerful. And especially in the combination of bringing it now to computer, to your mobile phone. Support for iOS and Android is available for that. So you will also see there what you've been doing there and bringing the documents together. So there's a fluid one computing part, which reminds me of Continuum. Microsoft announced like 4 years ago or so, a way of working with PCs and then Windows Mobile. We all know what happened to Windows Mobile, so now it has to work on that with iOS and Android. The other thing which is big is sets. Sets is also a good thing for making things like people work, bringing together the browser and the Windows 32 applications which run on a PC, which is a great way of bringing together things as we work, because now browser-based applications and the local residing applications have to work more seamlessly, come together. Why? You have to think in different mental paradigm, think what kind of application was it, where do I start with it, and which icon do I look after them. So that's a good and great start. The most thing where things come together and exciting part, in my view, is Windows machine learning, Windows ML, which runs with Onyx models, which can be deployed to run even offline. So that's good for the Onyx model, but it's also good for making Windows more intelligent. Lots of decisions which can be done with machine learning locally. We saw examples about improving writing. Hey, I love that. I could get any boost to make my writing better. But there's many, many options where machine learning can really improve the Windows experience. And then on the Azure side, probably the most exciting thing from my perspective is Cosmos DB. That's the database which officially and unofficially is powering the Microsoft Graph, which is a humongous representation of what people do, where their files are, what PCs, smartphones they have. So huge abstraction, and works across the Azure data centers for data residency and privacy and GDPR support. And that means it's a very, very powerful tool for companies building next generation applications on Cosmos DB. The 5 nines on not only read, it was read, but also on write, and the multi-master capability are all things which make it very instructions for the non-transactional database, but the document-centric things which like the Microsoft Graph uses. So it's clearly a next generation applications enabler. And then even closer more to coding on the Visual Studio side, it's good to see there's more collaborative elements coming together, easier ways to work in groups and teams, DevOps improvements. The question, of course, to me is where is the enterprise level? If you think about the main cloud competitors, which is all about, Microsoft is the one who understands best the enterprise, but a CTO who's building a next generation application starts with requirements collection, figuring out who's helping them, how to schedule things, how to work on a global team, how to release things, how to build things, how to support things, all things which a complete software building PaaS capability needs to address at some point. And Scott Guthrie on the same thing, and probably at least the next 12 months, there's no classic shrimp web PaaS on the Microsoft Azure or the Microsoft overall horizon. But good work on supporting individuals, which is bread and butter for Microsoft. Good work on a departmental team group level. Basically, Microsoft is really good at supporting what's in the line of sight for people to see. So overall, I think a good build conference for Microsoft. The AI part is probably the most important thing where Microsoft has to catch up and has to caught up. Now, of course, Google has moved the yardstick again, so it's going to be a long, long race for Microsoft to be truly competitive and catching up to whoever is leading at the moment, probably Google in this perspective. Good progress on the Windows side, despite it being split. I did a good chance conversation with Joe Belfiore about this. So I think everything is not in bad hands necessarily, or it's better said in good hands. depends, but it's going to be interesting to see what the future of Windows is. It was the first build conference with no Windows keynote, so mark that as a historic milestone. So overall, I would like Microsoft to move faster. Enterprise can't wait. Some things are basically 2 years behind, like the cognitive toolkit. Yes, Microsoft bet on the wrong technology. I think all of Seattle kind of like missed all the vendors there, machine learning and building dedicated infrastructures for that. So might be a local thing which happened there. But it's important that it's available now. And now we see if Microsoft can muster more speed and make it more competitive. So this was way too long. Thanks for watching. Those were my takeaways from Microsoft's Build Conference 2018, still going on today up in Seattle on the 9th of February. Thanks for watching. This was Holger Mueller from Constellation Research. Follow me on Twitter. It's my handle is @HolgerMU, HOLGERMU. I'm, as far as I know, the only analyst who keeps all his notes on Twitters. This means a lot of tweets, but also a lot of information, which I then condense in a Twitter moment, which you can find on the day keynote on Twitter on my account. I do this short video, and in a few minutes or hours from now, you'll have both a one-slide summary, which summarizes this talk, and a blog post coming later. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Oh, and if you like these videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll be notified of anything which is happening in enterprise software, which I can cover and is relevant. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.